Welcome and good day to all on the line. Thank you for taking the time to join us today for this webcast. We're going to be looking at Anaplan and demoing a demand planning system that we made for a multinational consumer goods client. My name is Amy Bellamy and I am a consultant at Thorogood with 3 years of experience on applications for a variety of clients and sectors, with experience of back-end data warehousing, front-end reporting and planning software. This is a short session and we have a lot to fit in. Please raise any questions on the chat panel and I'll respond as soon as I can. If not during the presentation, then I'll get back to you afterwards. Or you can drop me an email at my address on the screen. Today we'll be taking a look at how Anaplan can be used to support sales and operations planning. In particular, I'll be showing a demo based on a custom-built demand planning application that we built for a client. So you can witness the advantages of having a dedicated application for this process. I'm going to show how we can incorporate top-down and bottom-up adjustments to bring together input from users with different priorities, and I will demonstrate how statistical forecasting techniques can improve accuracy with detailed analysis of past seasonality and trends. But first, a brief introduction for those on the call not familiar with who Thorogood are. Thorogood is an independent professional services firm specialising in the delivery of business intelligence and analytics solutions. Established in 1987, we have over 28 years of experience delivering to customers, and we serve them globally with leveraged teams from our US, UK and Indian offices. We recruit and train consultants to develop a unique mix of skills, blending business understanding in the form of industry and functional experience, with strong technical aptitude and a deep understanding of analytical tools and techniques. We work with customers across the insurance, banking, consumer goods, pharma and healthcare sectors. On the screen now are examples of some organisations we have worked with over the years. And just to highlight some examples of projects we've done in various areas of business most relevant to the session today. We have considerable experience across the supply chain, including sales and operations planning, from analysing marketing spend to monitoring mould quality, as well as systems for financial planning and pricing, and, of course, forecasting as well. We are an independent consultancy, so we don't work with only one vendor, but we'll work with the vendors who we think really add value to our clients. We partner with a number of key vendors in the business intelligence and analytics space. One of our partners is Anaplan, the subject of this demo, who we have been partnered with since 2014. Anaplan is a cloud-based planning tool founded in 2007. They have a simple but powerful modelling system that can satisfy any planning requirements, making it a very versatile tool. And Anaplan is scalable. It has an in-memory calculation engine that can recalculate billions of cells a second, so it can easily cope with vast volumes of data. It can link users and business functions that would previously have used entirely separate systems, with data flowing through in real time between separate models, making businesses more connected. And it is a dedicated planning tool, making scenario modelling and what-if analysis very easy. And it has a clear and intuitive user interface and transparent calculation logic that allows business owners real ownership of their models. During the course of this session, I will show how useful this can be for our clients, and especially how Anaplan can be used to support the S&OP process. Sales and operations planning is a process to balance demand and supply. The process is concerned with agreeing the overall level of manufacturing output to best satisfy the current planned level of sales, integrating financial planning, sales planning and demand planning, and linking high-level strategic plans with day-to-day operations, while meeting general business objectives such as profitability, productivity and customer service levels. As this process is fundamental to a manufacturing company's core business, there are a number of opportunities to be gained from implementing an efficient process and providing the information to support it. For example, a good process can improve revenue by ensuring there's always enough stock to meet demand, and can reduce stock levels to save on waste and warehousing costs. Even for an organisation with no manufacturing element, there are strong benefits to accurate planning, empowering account managers with better analysis and predictions of their account performance, aiding marketing departments assess their promotional plans, and giving better financial oversight with sales forecasts. Now, every organisation is a little different, but here's an example of a typical sales and operations planning process. This consists of the generation of a forecast for projected sales and demand, the generation of a supply plan for what will be produced, the validation and reconciliation of these plans to ensure demand and supply are balanced and financially viable, and the final optimization and sign-off. Traditionally, each of these components would be handled by a different team with different priorities. The marketing team will be involved, planning which products to sell and which promotions to put in place. Sales teams will have insight into their customers' plans and will want to ensure their customers get support in achieving those. Demand planners will be reviewing the quantity of stock required across all customers and feeding this into the supply chain functions who need to know what to manufacture and where it will be made. And the finance department and leadership team will ultimately have responsibility for signing off the plans and ensuring they align with company strategy. All of these teams need to be aligned and to communicate with each other, but that can be quite a challenge. Because so many different departments and levels are involved in this process, organisations can encounter a variety of issues. Many organisations find that the process is very segmented, with different systems being used for each stage, outputs being sent from team to team by email or not at all, with potential for loss of information, and complicated spreadsheets that are understood only by one person, and which would need considerable work to update should the process change. Anaplan's powerful engine provides simple solutions for many of the most common issues in planning. The demo I'm going to show integrates inputs from different departments and levels, bringing multiple stages together in the one system. So users just need to log in to see the outputs from prior steps, and everything is tracked and stored in one place. All users and teams would access the same application to contribute to the process, yet the modular structure allows different user roles their own views specific to their priorities. The calculation engine quickly updates throughout the system so hierarchies can be updated with ease, and makes it very easy to compare different versions of the forecast. Anaplan's structure also makes the process more transparent, giving ownership of the system to the business. And this is all just using out-of-the-box functionality. Anaplan's versatility means it can be customised for more complex requirements too. Anaplan allows us to go further than just solving the issues of Excel-based planning. It allows us to use the best statistical techniques to model past behaviour in order to predict future behaviour, while allowing users to update and adjust the forecast with knowledge of future plans or events that the computer cannot predict. Incorporating both top-down and bottom-up adjustments with complex calculations to allocate the adjustments across products and customers. I'm now going to go into the demo itself. So as I mentioned, Anaplan is a cloud-based tool. It is accessed through a browser. I'm using Chrome, but Internet Explorer will work just as well. This means that there's no need to install any software on user machines or on servers. It's just all online like any other website. I'm going to the Anaplan homepage and I'm logging in. It's remembering my account details from last time. And when I first log in, I will see a list of all of the models that I have access to. I can see my specific favourites as well, and I can sort by the date that I last visited them. So it might be that other users have been more recently, but this is just based on myself. It's quite similar to a file browser, but just more customised to the individual user. So I'm going to go into the demand planning demo that I've prepared for today's session. Now this is opening onto a specific model, and it's just going to load a dashboard that I have built, and I've set this to be my landing page in the model, and that's all customisable. I'm just going to talk you through what you can see on the screen right now. So we've got the Anaplan logo and a link back to the list of all the models. I've got the name of the model I'm looking at the moment so that I know where I am, and the workspace name in case I have access to different workspaces, which might be business functional areas, for example, finance or marketing. It also shows my username, and there are some settings I can adjust, and a help tab so that if I need any help or support, if I need to chat to a support person, I can get a lot of advice here. You'll also notice that there are some tabs over here, and there's also a hidden panel at the left of the screen. If I click to open the panel, what you can see now is a list of the model contents, and this is customizable to show exactly what is of interest to me. Or I can click to show the hidden content so I can see everything in the entire model. I'm just going to hide this panel again and look at the other tabs. So the first tab, this is the model map. I'm going to open this, and as this loads, you will see a diagram of the whole application. This shows all of the data flow in the system. I'm just going to collapse it, and then you can now see the model organised into functional areas. Compared to Excel, this is completely made automatically with no effort from me, and it's showing the genuine data flow through the system with no need to update that. Now the next tab is the Settings tab. This is only visible to admin users, but those admin users could be business users. They wouldn't normally be IT. On the Settings tab is everything that's going on in the background. I won't go into it in detail, but just to show you, here are all of your dimensions, your product and customer hierarchies. We've got the time settings in the center of the screen at the moment. You can also view users, assign user roles, determine which page they get when they first open the application. You can set up import and exports, and you can create modules and dashboards which hold all of the data, the visualizations, and the calculations in the background. I'm going to go back to the landing page where I started. And these buttons here are links to the various dashboards I've set up for this demo. So we're now going to go through the demo, and the content I'll cover today is a process of loading actual data, generating a statistical forecast, adjusting the forecast by account, tracking accuracy, making top-level changes, and finally generating a production plan. We'll start with loading actual data. The bedrock of the demand planning process is having detailed, accurate, and up-to-date historical data. We need to know exactly where we are now and how we got here to forecast the future. So we have a data load into Anaplan from the data warehouse that holds the actual sales data, loading directly from an on-premises SQL server into the cloud. In Anaplan, this happens automatically, no user involvement, and it's very quick. Let me just briefly show you what this looks like. So I can go into the source module for this table. And you can see here's all of the data that's been loaded. And in the window at the top, you can see the calculation running here. This is a volume conversion calculation. And compared to Excel, you'll notice that this is using words. It's not using cell references. So it's much easier to understand than an Excel model would be. I can also just look at the list of all of the functions, and there are various settings that I can update on this screen as well. I'm just going to go back to the dashboard. So in the system our client was using previously, they would be running a manual load once a month to get the actual sales data into the forecasting system. But because ours is so fast, we can run it every night. So every morning the app is fully up to date with the previous day's sales. The forecasting algorithm can then run immediately as soon as the previous month's data is complete. And we work that out by judging based on what data has been loaded. So in this case, you can see June is highlighted, as this is the final month of data that we have in the system. And the system has identified June is the last month of sales data, but it's only a partial month. So the last complete month of sales was May. Therefore, the forecasting cycle will take all the data just up to May, and it won't use the partial data from June. So as soon as the figures are signed off and in the system, the statistical forecast will run with the final data from May. There's no need for manual involvement, which was a massive game changer for our client, as it had previously taken them days to get to this point, following a labour-intensive process loading between systems. Now it takes under 5 minutes to run the entire process, handling thousands of products across all customers, loading the latest data and running the forecast. So how does the forecast work? For those of you who know something about statistics, we're using the Holt-Winters multiplicative method with exponential smoothing. For those unfamiliar with the algorithm, what we do is we take as much history as possible. We used 4 years in our client system. And the algorithm analyzes the data to find the underlying trend hidden in it. Here you can see a downward trend. It will also look at the seasonal variations. For example, here you can see there is a dip in June and peaks in November and December. The algorithm then runs iteratively, starting with the earliest historical data and iteratively forecasting and then checking the accuracy of each subsequent month against the data that has been loaded. So by the time it gets up to the current month, it can produce a much smoother forecast for the future. So you can see in the line chart in the bottom here, the red line shows our actual sales, and then the blue line continues the pattern of that. Each product and account is forecasted, and the forecast is then parameterized to fit that specific product and account's pattern of growth and change. We run the forecast with over 30 different parameter combinations, and the algorithm selects the best combination independently for each product and account. The forecasting algorithm is not the end of the story. At this point, we have a computer-generated forecast, which can be very accurate, provided there are no big changes that the computer can't predict. Changes such as customer mergers or acquisitions would be things that account managers know, but computers cannot predict. And it's very important to our clients to integrate the statistical forecast with the expertise of account managers, because they know about these things. They know about account plans, product launches, or acquisitions that will make a big difference. So we built a dashboard for them to see the details of their accounts, to see the past sales and statistical forecast, and what sort of profile their account has. So what you can see on the screen here is a year-on-year change for the selected account, which is Booths, but I could change the account to one of the others that I have permissions for. And this is showing my two main product divisions, which are hair care and skincare. We can also see at the top of the screen the actual history, so we don't have any data yet for July onwards, but we can see the statistical forecast for those months, and then there is a row to enter an adjustment, and then the adjusted forecast beneath that. The other table at the bottom here is just showing the actuals up to the current time, and then the highlighted section indicates the forecast, and this is the adjusted forecast. Now I'm going to put in an adjustment as an example. So suppose I know that an order has been postponed and I want to move 10,000 items from one month to the next. So I'm going to put in 10,000 into September, and I'm taking that out of August's order. And the row on the bottom has now updated, so that is showing the adjusted values for those 2 months. Alternatively, for another example, suppose that I know my account is taking on a new distribution centre, and this is going to make a big difference, so I'm going to put in a large positive increase in October. But that's not only going to apply to October, I actually want to copy that across and apply that to all future months. What you will have noticed here is in the line chart at the bottom, there are now 2 lines distinctly showing. Now, the red line alone is showing the statistical forecast generated by the algorithm. The blue line has now appeared, set slightly apart from the red line, as this shows the account manager adjustment, so I can compare what my forecast is with the forecast output from the algorithm. Anaplan has automatically broken back all of my adjustments across all the products beneath. So although I've put the adjustments in at the top level in my product hierarchy, that will have applied down to a low level of the product hierarchy, keeping the profile that they had already. It was very important to our clients to have all this data in one place, as in the old system, the statistical forecast was in one place, and separately account managers would put their own forecast in a different tool, and they'd have to go to yet another tool to see the historical data. It was very disconnected, whereas this new system really opened their eyes to the statistical forecast, put it at their fingertips, and made it easy to use and update for their own forecast. Another thing our client was concerned about was the accuracy of the forecast. The final output of this whole process is going to be a detailed product plan. So in doing these forecasts, we're not setting targets. We're trying to accurately predict sales by account and product. An account manager may be tempted to set a forecast low so their account can exceed it. But for our purpose, that would be destructive, as we would underproduce, or potentially we could not have enough stock to satisfy demand, or have stock that's going to waste. So we built some accuracy reporting, including a league table for account managers showing their ranking and their forecast accuracy, as well as change since last month. And we can track each month's forecast against what the actuals came in for. And that's the 3 months out forecast, as that's the point at which we would no longer be able to adjust manufacturing plans based on forecasting. Here I can drill it in, so if I pick an account, I can then view the forecast for that specific account and compare that one's accuracy. So after the account managers have done their forecasts, done their adjustments, there needs to be some senior oversight. Trading directors will then review the forecasts submitted by the account managers. They can challenge account managers on their predictions and check that the totals are reasonable, even though account managers may think they are. When they're added together, it may stop making quite so much sense. So what I'm going to show here is how you can make some top-level adjustments. As you can see, there's one in already. I'll just take that out and show exactly how that's working. So previously, when we made adjustments, they rolled down automatically across products and customers. Now this time, I'm going to make an adjustment and I can customize exactly how that applies to the different accounts. Suppose that I think that the forecast for August is too high and I want to enter in a negative adjustment here. Then I can choose which driver to use. So you'll notice that highlighting appeared in the chart at the bottom as I entered that, and it was there at the start before I took it out. And that's just showing that those cells have changed since the original forecast coming from the account managers. And I can choose how I apply this to accounts. So suppose I want to just apply it by profile, by volume that was there originally. So now every single account is highlighted, and that shows that that adjustment has applied to everyone. And it's been applied proportional to the size of the account, so a bigger account will take a bigger chunk of that adjustment. But the other option, what was selected when I appeared on the screen, this shows only certain accounts have been affected. And the reason for this is that now it's actually only applying to accounts that are traditionally over-forecasting. So over the last year, these accounts have generally over-forecasted, and so it's only fair that those would be the ones that get the negative adjustment. We wouldn't want to artificially reduce the accuracy of an account that is normally very accurate. And this is entirely custom built to meet our users' requirements. So what you've seen here is a custom allocation based on accuracy and bias. And now when that is done, we're looking at an account plan that is by account and by product, with adjustments from both top-level trading directors or executive teams and from the account managers. The final step is just to create the detailed production plan. All the adjustments that have been made have been aggregated across all customers and rolled down automatically to that low product level. But we haven't taken it right down to the SKU level yet. We didn't want that to happen automatically either. Now, SKUs are the very bottom of the product hierarchy. They're materially similar products in different packaging or sizing or promotional versions. So now I want to do a custom allocation to the SKU. And I'm just going to upload a production schedule to get that in place. And this is a CSV file from my local file system that I'm importing, but we could have pulled that through automatically like we did with the actual data that could be coming through from another system. This is just to show you how easy it is to upload data. And I'm uploading stock on hand as well, which is showing how much stock I currently have in my warehouses available to be used. And this is populated in the table at the bottom, and you can see an allocation has also automatically populated. So what we've done here is automatically assigned the demand to the SKUs based on the amount of production and stock that they have available. And it applies as much as possible to the first SKU in the list, and then if that runs out of stock, then the demand is then allocated to the next one. So you can see, for example, Intense Protect Conditioner 500 milliliter bottle only takes the demand from January to March next year. And this is just to give an indication of how the SKUs should be used. And we can also customize this further by overriding. If I know that, in fact, that SKU is going to end production or needs to run until a specific date, for example, if it's a promotional pack tied into a specific event. So I can just scroll through, update the allocation where I think it's needed, and then I can download this production plan and send it to the production manager. Alternatively, the production manager could just log into the system and view it here, or import it into another system that they then use to assign it to various factories. So now that that is done, you have seen the overview of the app that we've built. So all in all, this app was much faster and easier to use than the system it replaced. The data loads between the on-premises database and the cloud, the statistical forecasting algorithm, all this happened automatically with no user involvement. Account and top-level adjustments are made in the same tool with quick recalculations as the adjustments are made and allocated down to the most granular levels. So the whole forecasting process happens in one tool, in Anaplan, and we built this by working closely with the clients to make a system that they would have ownership of, giving a level of oversight previously impossible and making the whole process much more integrated, more transparent, and much easier. So just to wrap up, I hope that that was useful for you and that we've managed to cover off the objectives that I set out at the beginning of the session. We've looked at a dedicated demand planning application and seen how adjustments and inputs from various users are pulled together and how statistical forecasting gives a more nuanced and accurate forecast, as well as seeing the transparency and ease of Anaplan's structure. So thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. If you do have any questions, do drop me an email and I'll get back to you soon after the session. Thank you again very much for attending. I hope you have a great afternoon.